Okay, let's remember these. You don't have to write these down. You wrote these down on day one when we did these 6.3. So we should be on page 5 of the notes. 6.3, solving equations by elimination. We're going to focus on the second part today, see if multiplication is needed to make coefficients match. Just to review before we even start, just so we understand, we already have done a little bit of this when we had something like this. 2x plus y equals 4, and 3x plus y equals 6. If we drew the line, we wouldn't be able to eliminate anything. The y's match up, but one of them needs to be negative. So what we did a lot of times is we multiply by negative. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to change all these signs by multiplying by negative. Now that's another way we can do it. Does that make sense? It's faster. So if we multiply by the negative. Now 3 minus 2 is 1x. Y minus y is no y. 6 minus 4 is 2. So then x is 2. Then we would take one of the equations, 3 times x plus y equals 6. We would put in the 2, right? And this becomes 6 plus y equals 6. If I subtract 6 from each side, I get y equals 0. So the answer to this one is 2 comma 0. Okay? So we're still doing the same thing, but we're going to make it a little more detailed now because the 6 problems we're going to do today, we're going to solve by elimination, but they get a little more difficult. Okay? But let's make sure we don't have any headphones in or put our stuff away because then we're not paying attention. We're not going to get how to do this. Let's notice 3 and 4, they're not going to eliminate. So even if I change this one to negative, that would still get me x. And this one, 3 and negative 6, they're not going to eliminate. So we have to do something more now. Okay, so this step, we have to multiply by something to make a match. Now what I'm going to look at is these two. 3y and 6y. If I were to take this equation times 2, this would become plus 6y, and it'll make the y's disappear. Does that make sense? So you have to pick something that will make it work. Well, 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 6 is 12. You still have to multiply all of them by 2. Okay, in that top problem, just because we do something there. Now, the reason I chose 2, everybody asks, well, why did you choose that one? Because I knew if I multiplied by 2, it would turn this to 6, and it would eliminate the negative 6. So you have to have a strategy. You can pick any one you want. You can actually make any of them eliminate, but sometimes you might have to multiply more than one then. I just saw if I multiply by 2, it'll make that one match up right away. Does that make some sense? Yeah. Now, 4x and 6x make 10x because they're both positive. So they would add. These two go away, and this becomes 27. Now, if I divide by 10, in your calculator, if you divide that by 10, depending on what calculator you're using, if you're using this one, it'll make it a decimal right away, 2.7. If you're using this one, you have to throw a dot on there. It'll still make it 2.7. I would just make it a decimal. So x is 2.7. It's okay to have a decimal. Now I'm going to take the first equation. 3 times x plus 3y equals 6. I'm going to put in 2.7. Sorry, I'm going to switch back to my left hand. 3 times 2.1 is 5.1. Now again, you don't have to show all the work like this. Minus 5.1 minus 5.1, but I get 3y equals positive 0.9 or 0.9 if you want to do that. If I divide by 3, y equals 0.3. Okay, so we get 2.7.3. Okay. You what? It's 0.9. So usually that's why I don't put the 0 so it doesn't confuse in there. That was with my left hand, sorry. All right. So now this one. You may have to write them again. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to write this one. Negative 2x plus 15y equals negative 32. And what I'm going to focus on, I'm going to focus on the y's. If I multiply this one by a number, it'll make that one match the positive 15y. What number? 3. Because 3 times that is negative 15y. So understand the goal. The goal is to make them eliminate. If they don't match up, if it's not 15 minus 15, one of the variables doesn't go away. Now, this 3 times 7 is 21x. 3 times 17, use your calculator if needed, you get 51. Now we put them together. This is a positive 21 minus 2 gets me 19x. These eliminate, thus the name of the process. We're trying to make them eliminate. 32 minus negative 32 plus 51 is also 19. If we divide by 19, we're going to get that x equals 1. Now you have to put that 1 back into one of the equations. I'm going to take the first equation, negative 2 times x. I put the 1 in for the x, plus 15y. Sorry, I'm writing left-handed again. Right arm's getting better, but still kind of tired. Okay? So, negative 2 plus 15y equals negative 32. I'm going to add 2 to each side. And if I add 2, I get 15y equals negative 30. If I divide by 15, y is negative 2. So again, it's where the two lines cross. The two lines cross at 1, negative 2. 1 for x, negative 2 for y. Divide by 19, we get 1. We put the 1 in, we get negative 2. Slide back a little bit, make room. All right. Now, this one is going to be tricky. I cannot multiply any of these and make them work. So for instance, multiplying this one by something won't make it match that. Okay? So sometimes you have to multiply both of the equations by a number to make them match. Okay, so everybody, be on your toes, ready to work this one. I'm going to focus in on the y's. One of the simplest ways to do it, I'm going to multiply this by 3. Now, if I multiply this by 3, that's going to make that 6y. Now, just look at the y's before we write anything. That's going to make that 6. Positive 6. If I multiply this by 2, it's going to make that positive 6. But I don't want positive 6 both times. So one of them needs to be a negative. So I'm going to multiply this one by negative 2. So it becomes positive 6 and negative 6. Now, do you see the goal? I could have chosen the x's. That would have been okay, but I'm just going to multiply them and make them both 6. Now, a lot of times it's just, well, this one's 3, so multiply by 3. This one's 2, so multiply by 2. It'll make a match. So this one, now you have to multiply everything. So this, 3 times x is 9x. Then we get plus 6y, that's what we wanted, equals 3. Make sure you multiply everything in that whole equation by 3. 3 times that is 9, 3 times that is 6, 3 times that is 3. And the other one, by negative 2, we get negative 8x. Minus 6y, ding, 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 that's what we wanted. A negative times a negative is a positive 4. But remember, the goal is to get them to line up so one of them eliminates. Right. 9 minus 8 is x. 1x equals 7. Now I put it back, I put it into this equation. It really doesn't matter which one you put it into. This one, x comma y. We found x. Once we put it back in, we found y. 7, negative 7. x3. Still the same thing. Now, you can pick what you want. For instance, everybody watch, don't write, because I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to show you. It wouldn't matter, so don't write. Those watching at home, don't write. I'm going to look, if I look at the y's, if I take this times 7, that would be positive 21y. Don't write it. I'm not going to use this one. If I take this times 3, that would be positive 21, but I don't want positive 21. So I take it times negative 3, so it's negative 21. But what I notice is in the x's, I already have one that's negative and one that's positive. So I'm going to keep my life a little bit simpler and not have to multiply by negative. So instead, I'm going to take this 5 times 2. And you say, where does the 2 come from? I just steal it from here. If I take it times 2, that's going to be 10x. But if I take this one times 5, that's going to be negative 10x. Ding, ding, ding. They're going to eliminate. It doesn't matter which one you use. It just matters that you get them to match, and one's positive and one's negative. So we're going to do it this way. Now you have to get the rest of the stuff. 2 times that is 10. 2 times 3x is 6x, or 6y, excuse me. And 2 times 26 equals 52. You need to use a calculator. 5 times this is negative 10. We already have that written down. Plus 5 times 7 is 35. Don't forget to multiply them all. And then we get 30. Now the x's eliminate. We get 6 and 35 make 41y equals 82. If I divide by 41, y ends up being 2. Okay? So if y is 2, I got to take that and I got to put it into one of the equations. I'm going to put it into the first one. 5x plus 3y equals 26. So I'm going to put in the 2. 5x plus 6 equals 26. Subtract 6 from each side. Again, I don't always show the work now. We're at a place in algebra where I can understand what you did. You subtracted 6 from each side. It made the 6 on the right and the left, or 6 on the left disappeared, and it took 26 down to 20. Make sense? If I divide by 5, x equals 4. So our answer, 4, comma, 2. Get better. We good here? All right, now this one is back to a little bit of normal. Notice the x's and the y's, they both actually match a little bit. So this one, I'm just going to change some signs. If I make this a positive 2x by multiplying by a negative, it's going to eliminate. But I can't just change one. I got to change this one to negative and this one to negative. And what we get, the x's eliminate, the y's eliminate, so this side becomes 0. There are no x's and y's. That side becomes 5. Since 0 doesn't equal 5 and all the variables have disappeared, we say there are no solutions. Or no solutions. There's no answer to this one. So that one was a lot faster than the others. When they end up matching, it is a little bit easier. This one, notice 2x minus 2x, eliminate, 3y minus 3y, eliminate, we get 0. What's 2 minus 2? 0. So now what happens if they're the same? Then we say there are infinite, IMS, infinitely many solutions is fine like that, or infinite. Okay?